That night's sleep was sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. How high? It's me and you for the first headlines of the day, hence why I mic'd up before I went to bed, just to save time, innit? Anyway, here's some wrestling news. Has a top Raw star been written off TV? A top New Japan star is injured, and the reason why a WWE title match was scrapped. Coming up in a bit. So we start this morning with the curious case of Aleister Black. So on Raw this past Monday, Aleister Black got the whole eye in steps treatment, and it looks as if that plus his injury, his attack at the hands of Rollins and Murphy the week before, seems to have written our boy Aleister Black off of Monday Night Raw for the foreseeable future. Dave Meltzer talked a little bit about this in the Wrestling Observer. Where he suggested that this is now Aleister Black being written off TV. We don't know when we're expecting Aleister Black to return. A few other reports have suggested that Aleister Black is now not going to be part of Raw for the foreseeable. TalkSport's Alex McCarthy has given us a kind of an update on this in terms of where Black sits in the grand scheme of things. Because one of the other things that was doing the rounds was that Vince McMahon wasn't really buying into the Aleister Black thing. And Alex McCarthy has said that it turns out Vince is a huge fan of Aleister Black and of Tommy in general. Size, agility, skill. But he is worried that the character is a gimmick and will limit him. So potentially, if Aleister Black is indeed written off TV now, very much by the looks of things, the attack that he had on Raw and obviously the week before, it looks as if he's gone, potentially even coming back with something a little bit different, a little nuance to his character to freshen it up. It's nice to hear that Vince McMahon very much is on the side of Aleister Black, but maybe he wants to rejig him, maybe he wants to work on him. Kind of hope not, really, because I like the way Aleister Black currently is. Just already he stands out as a unique character on that roster. In terms of whether it would limit him, I don't know. I personally don't think he's limited in his role. I think that it's such a unique persona that he has that you could put him anywhere and with most people and he would do absolutely fine. But at least for the time being, we may not see him on Raw for a couple of weeks, unless, and this is the idea that I had, if this ends up not being the case, he ends up staying on Raw, whether he becomes, we mentioned this on Raw Graded, whether he becomes like the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, who just keeps getting injured and he just every week just gets more and more hurt. Like walking in with an eye patch, broken arm, yeah, it's just a flesh wound, gets his leg cut off. Could be fun. Or it could just be me talking out of my bum. New Japan Summer Struggle rolls on, and we've had an unfortunate injury from the tour. This comes from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Due to an injury to his left shoulder, New Japan Pro Wrestling medical staff have determined that Hiromu Takahashi will not be able to appear on cards from the Hamatsu event. Changes have been made to cards for tonight and Friday, July the 31st, in Korakuen Hall accordingly. We apologise to fans who were looking forward to seeing Takahashi wrestle, and we appreciate your understanding. Now, Takahashi is expected to return, according to New Japan, in time for his IWGP Junior Heavyweight title defense against Taiji Ishimori on the 29th of August at Jingu Stadium. So we were meant to see tonight and tomorrow six-man tag team action. It was going to be Takahashi teaming with Naito and Bushi against Evil, Dick Togo and Ishimori. So obviously with the injury to Takahashi, that's out of the match. He's out of the match, and they've just made it a standard tag team match with Naito and Bushi taking on Evil and Ishimori. Speedy recovery to Takahashi. He's been really strongly positioned in New Japan since the rising of Evil. Can't help but feel like Takahashi might be the next guy. It certainly feels like it's being pitched that way. Can't help but feel like he'll be the next guy to step out of the junior heavyweight division and move up to the heavyweight division. So maybe at the end of August we see him lose the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title and move up to fight Evil for the heavyweight belts again. That'd be cool. Staying with New Japan, they put out another statement, this time concerning New Japan of America. Running on Friday nights through July, Lions Break Collision was an immense success on New Japan World. As Collision came to an end on the 24th of July, keen viewers will have seen a tease for a brand new concept titled NJPW Strong to begin on August the 7th. This Friday, at the regular start time of 10 Eastern, 9 Central, New Japan Pro Wrestling invites fans and members of the media to tune into a special online press conference on New Japan World to formally announce New Japan Strong and what to expect from this incredible new venture. PW Insider has confirmed that the show will be taped in California, like Lions Break Collision, using an empty arena with production from the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood team. So it will feel a little bit like Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which is quite cool, but it'll be obviously New Japan with no fans. There's still a push to do some big things with New Japan of America. This was going to be the year, we talked about this in a previous video, this was going to be the year that New Japan of America was going to break out. This was going to be their push into the west of the world. And it hasn't panned out the way they want it to, but they are still persevering with doing stuff. They've got a strong enough roster for New Japan of America to finally start making some headway there. So we'll find out more about it on the 31st of July. We also had an announcement regarding a new title and a new title and some new stipulations around the title for New Japan. Check out Jack's video from yesterday, for the Cultaholic news video for yesterday. Jack goes into all the details about this new New Japan Championship. It's Wednesday, you know what that means. It's AEW Dynamite TE Day, and tonight they are revealing details of the AEW Deadly Draw tournament. This is a women's tag team knockout style tournament that All Elite Wrestling are going to be hosting. Speaking to Christy Olsen, Brandy Rhodes sort of gave us a little bit of an indication as to what to expect from this tournament. And Brandy said, we're going to explain how the teams come together tonight, and then you might see a team or two come together. I, of course, am very hopeful that this tournament is something that can continue to happen, as it's going to bring great opportunities to a lot of women who don't normally get to be seen on Dynamite or on AEW Dark as often as we'd like to. When she was asked about her chances in the tournament with Ali, with her tag team partner, she said, there is the factor that the Nightmare Sisters could maybe not be together in the tournament, since that hasn't been clear. So we'll also see on Wednesday night with the rules what that means for the Nightmare Sisters. I'm honestly hoping that we are together, because again, I feel like we've just gotten our footing. So it'd be kind of sad to tear us apart at this point. So what we can sort of gather from this, I mean, even the name Deadly Draw, which seems a bit of a spoof on Lethal Lottery. This is going to be like a tag team randomizer tournament, not unlike Lethal Lottery, not unlike Battle Bowl from WCW, not unlike the Joker's Wild stuff from TNA, where it sounds like teams are just going to be thrust together. I kind of had a look through the AEW women's division that is available. And you've got performers like Abaddon, Ali, Anna Jay, Big Swole, Brandy's there, Diamante, Hikaru Shida, Leva Bates, Mel, Nyla Rose, Penelope Ford, Roche Chanel, big fan of Roche Chanel. Roche Chanel's a beast. Sadie Gibbs, Shanna. Now these are just names that I know are available to AEW who have been on the show recently. I'm sure there are others that I have missed. In the comments below, hit us up with some dream combos you'd like to see in this women's tournament. Bobby Lashley, but not Bobby Lashley. Dolph versus Drew on Raw this past Monday night was meant to be a title match, wasn't it? Do you remember we saw adverts and stuff saying that it's Dolph's last chance at the WWE title, he's begged for a rematch, and it was meant to be for the WWE title. And when we got to Raw, we found out like the day before that it was going to be a non-title match. Like, why change all these things? Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer fleshes this one out for us a little bit. So WWE changed Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler into a non-title match pretty much at the last minute for one main reason. So we have to go back a couple of days before this. So the plans were for WWE to film an angle between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton to set up their title match at SummerSlam 2020. So those plans were then ripped up because WWE instead wanted to push the title rematch between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre for this week's show. However, officials and writers within WWE changed their minds again because they didn't want to put off announcing Orton versus Drew McIntyre for another week. They wanted to get the ball rolling on that match fairly soonish. So it went from we were meant to have Orton versus Drew announced next week. So we were going to have a title match between Dolph and Drew on Raw. Then they changed their minds and said, actually, we need to announce this match soon. So we are just going to have it kick off on Monday Night Raw. We'll make Dolph and Drew a non-title match. We'll focus on that. And I feel like this played a part in the way that the ratings went, because Raw had another bit of a disaster when it came to ratings on Monday night, as something like the second lowest number in the 3-hour time slot they've had for Raw. It was at 1.617 at the end, 1.61. 1.62 was last week's one. That was pretty low as well. But at the third hour, which featured not only the Raw Women's title match, but that Dolph versus Drew match, the one that flip-flopped from a WWE title match to a non-title match, that did pretty awful numbers. The viewers fell off to about 1.4 by that point. And I feel like changing the stip and making it non-title took away that desire to watch it. We said this on Raw Graded, how by taking away the idea of this being a title match, by pushing the idea that we're getting Drew versus Orton at SummerSlam, you take away all the jeopardy for Dolph's redemption against Drew. Like you pull all of that away. Like we know that Dolph's never going to win the WWE title. Mark that. We know that Dolph's never going to win it. Like the amount of times he's had a go and then it's not worked out, and then to have it so you have the title match taken away. So it's just a regular non-title match, and it's a guy who has currently got the most momentum in the company, and they've already announced that he's facing somebody else at SummerSlam. No one's going to care about the outcome, so of course people aren't going to watch. They made a rod for their own back on that one, in my opinion. But yeah, so pulled because of writing reasons. Seems to be the case for most of these things. I hope they recycle at WWE. They seem to rip up a lot of paper, don't they? More news on the way with Jack later on today. Also, Jack is back on Twitch tonight as well. He and Owen are saving Sunderland. Somebody has to. Playing Football Manager on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Cultaholic. You can watch them doing that there. Stay safe. Love you, bye. I'm going back to sleep. Wake me up when Ross finishes the muffins. Thank you.